Alright, we're back to the Great Ace Attorney. We're continuing off. Last where we left off, we found a clown. Just kidding, a Shamspear dead in his fucking room. And it turns out that Mr. Susato happened to be with him. And now we're representing him, probably. And investigating. Oh yeah, also we did talk to him, so we need to look around. Good view of the wintry east end from up here. It's an impressively gray scene. There's really nothing comparable in Japan. Down below, Briar Road, partly blanketed in snow. And the pavement where poor Miss Green was struck in the back by that knife. Thinking about it, this is the only room in this building that actually has a window to the outside world. Sometimes, Great Britain really does seem like a strange land, doesn't it? I suppose all foreign cultures seem strange at first. Imagine how Englishmen would feel on arriving in Japan and seeing people with a Chon Mage top knot. Well, that's a good point. Actually, I don't think there's anything else here. Alright. Yeah, there's really nothing else. Or unless... Mr. Gerda, could I show you this? In quite a couple of days, as you can imagine. I'm afraid I'm rather tired. I haven't really got the energy in the old eyeballs, to be honest with you. Some other time, then. Alright, I guess we won't show him that. I guess we'll go check out Briar Road real quick, since we're here. Nope. That's not what I wanted to do. Centerpiece of the Great Exhibition that's open in 6 months' time. Okay. There we go. Okay, still nothing. What's that right there? Wait. With the exception of the top floor where Mr. and Mrs. Garrett live, all the windows are bricked up. Yes, that's because of an old window tax that was charged on the number of windows a property had. In order to pay less tax, the poor members of society filled in many of their windows. But the tax has since been abolished, hasn't it? So the windows could all be opened up again, surely. Unfortunately, it would appear that the residents of this district can't afford to pay to have the work done. Yeah, that is a sad state of affairs. Especially for people like poor Mr. Natsume, who have to live all cooped up in a windowless room. I suppose that's the price you pay for living in very cheap accommodation. It all seems rather pointless when you put it like that. Alright, let's go check Mr. Natsume. Is he not here? Interesting. Is there nothing else we can talk about? Well, hold on. Yeah, maybe we missed something here. And here we have another disproportionately large machine. This looks like a meter of some kind. Ah, this is a gas meter, I think. It seems that in this district, residents pay for gas as they use it with coins. Ah, I see. Yeah, now that you've pointed it out, I can see that there's a slot just here that looks like it would take a coin. So you mean if you put a coin in here? That's right. That would buy you about 2 hours of gas for lights and heating. So, if you're a poor person with no money, you'd have to sleep in the freezing cold. Yeah, or if you were a scatterbrain with no change because you forgot to exchange your money at the bank. Thank goodness there's no meter in our office. Okay. This is a gas wall light, isn't it? It must be connected to a gas pipe in the wall. Gas lights, a gas stove. London really is a city of gas. And now that I think about it, Mr. and Mrs. Gerdev had an open fire on the top floor, didn't they? Oh yes, you're right. I don't recall seeing a gas stove up there. Well, I much prefer a real fire anyway. It's so much cozier. As we've seen from the outside, the window is completely bricked up. A vestige of the former window tax that Britons had to pay. What strange things they used to tax in Great Britain. I mean, making people pay for the number of windows they had in a property? It's extraordinary. It's heartbreaking to think of the poor having to block up their windows just to avoid an unaffordable tax. Oh. What is it, Mrs. Sato? If you look closely, a number of the bricks are loose. What? Oh, yeah. Wait a minute. Oh, yeah, it looks as though an amateur has broken out a few of them just here. Was it Mr. Shamspear who did it? I wonder. Being the lodger renting this room. Ah, look at this, Mr. Naruhodo. On the outside, there's a little ledge. There's something on it. What? Outside? The fuck is a... Brr, it's so cold outside. You can feel it through this gap. It did snow all night last night. It would be cold. But more importantly, what is it on the ledge out there? What are those snow-covered lumps? It's more bars of soap? Soap? What are bars of soap doing lined up on a ledge outside the window? I have no idea. But the pair of them look rather charming like that. Still, that's very strange, isn't it? Bars of soap lined up outside the window? I think perhaps we should take one. There are two after all. Oh dear, I suppose we could. Oh, what's this? Look here at this soap. Ah. Do you see? In the middle there. There's a patch that's a different color. It's sort of transparent, but some sort of fancy design, I suppose. Only in Great Britain. It looks like the Hinomaru flag of Japan, doesn't it? How wonderful. It's probably a very expensive brand. Expensive? And what's it doing in this ramshackle old room? Alright, well, we discovered that. Maybe we can go and present this to Mr. Gerdev. Okay. Guess not. Okay. Is there still more? Okay. Maybe these clothes right here? Look at these extravagant bright costumes. Somehow they look out of place in this room with its grim, shady going-ons. This one looks like a king's attire. A king? I've always dreamt of being a king. Oh, I think you'd be more suited to a feudal lord, a daimyo or such like. The Chon Mage top knot? Every Japanese man wishes he had a Chon Mage. Oh, you'd look wonderful with one, and you already have the sword. Can you imagine what would happen if I walked around the streets of London with a Chon Mage and a sword? There's not much on these shelves, is there? Just this wine glass and bottle. And both of them are cracked. Yeah, how much use are they? What's the matter? Oh, I was just reminded of the Reaper, that's all. Prosecutor Lord Van Zeeks? Oh yeah, he does throw a lot of bottles. Yes, he's so reckless with his wine glasses. I was thinking it's a waste and that he should donate some to the needy. You can suggest it next time we meet. Doesn't seem to be anything else here. Yeah, nothing here. Is there any... Wait. Oh, the teacup. Ah, one of the teacups that Mr. Shamspear and his guests drank from last night. But don't go drinking from them, Mr. Naruhodo. There's bitter poison inside. I'm not planning on drinking any, don't worry. Anyway, the cups are both empty. That's true. So one was Mr. Shamspear's, and the other must be the cup that Mr. Natsume was drinking from. But Soseki-san wasn't poisoned, of course. Perhaps we should take these so we can examine them in more detail later. Alright. Okay, so that triggered that. Looks like you're having a good snoop around, eh? Okay. Inspector Gregson, back so soon?
After I threw that little Japanese fella in the clink, I went and reported this to the investigation division. In 5 minutes' time, this place will be cordoned off by the yard.
Oh, I see. Well, we better be leaving then. Poor Mr. Natsume must be feeling very low, being back in a cell again so soon. I'm sure we should probably go and... What? What's wrong, Mr. Naruhodo? What? Yeah! Out! Out, brief candle! Life's but a walking shadow, a poor player. That struts and frets his hour upon the stage, and then is heard no more. Now, how soundeth the next part? Brother, he wasn't dead?
It is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing.
Indeed. Oh, happy day. What? Whoa. Walking Dead!
The fella isn't dead at all?
What was that nonsense he was saying, though? I think, yes, it was from William Shakespeare's Macbeth. A solid cue from Act 5, Scene 5. Shakespeare? Okay, something tells me he actually ate a bar of soap. So it was that the victim, Mr. William Shakespeare, came back to life. If the man had indeed been poisoned, it transpired that it hadn't killed him. He was taken by emergency carriage to a nearby hospital for treatment, and Inspector Gregson evicted us from the scene of the crime. Whatever that now was. Brother. Oh, who's this guy? Oh yeah, that's the guy from the first case that we did here in Britain. Or no, not the first, but the second one. Whatever do you think will happen now? Good question. What a strange situation for Mr. Natsume. Arrested for murder, but then the victim comes back to life? I think perhaps the victim was never dead in the first place. It seems very likely that Mr. Shamsphere did consume poison as we deduced. But was it an accident? Attempted suicide? Or attempted murder? Until the truth can be established, I imagine the police will keep Mr. Natsume in custody. I suppose so. Let's hope it doesn't come to anything more than a night in the cells. Oh, what's this? What's that man doing over there? Looks like he's trying to see into Saseki-san's lodging. Is something wrong, Mr. Naruhodo? Excuse me, could we have a word? Okay. He just posed and left? He just ran off. I feel sure that I've seen that man somewhere before. Where was it? I do too, but I don't remember. Well, we've done as much investigating here as we can, I think. Perhaps we ought to go to the prison and speak with Mr. Natsume again. A good idea. Alright, we're off. There he is. This poor, sad Japanese man doesn't get a break. Look, Mr. Naruhodo. Mr. Natsume, have the police finished questioning you now?
Welcome, student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire.
Oh, yes?
What is he? Tell me. Is he a ghost? Is he here to haunt me?
Let me guess. You're talking about Mr. Sholmes? He actually calls himself a great detective, Mr. Natsume, not a ghost.
But his diabolic deductions, they're not of this world. They've left me. Ah, cursed! I'm cursed, I tell you!
Well, that sort of hurts. Credit where credit is due, Mr. Naruhodo. You were heavily involved in the deductions, too. Yeah, moving on. We have some wonderful news.
Oh?
The victim that we all thought was dead has come back to life again.
Shit!
Well, now in the absolutely worst case, you could only be tried for attempted murder. That's great, isn't it, Mr. Natsume?
It's terrible!
Oh?
I'm stuck in this cell suffering for some silly wrong end of the stick. You did it, didn't you? Confess, you're a killer. Why the mustache? Constant questions.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Oh, that selfish shyster. Make up your mind. Are you dead or alive? If you were going to come back to life, why bother dying? Wickedly wishy-washy William.
Well, it seems likely that Mr. Shamsphere was never actually dead in the first place.
Ah, yes, that might make sense. And I'm pleased that he's alive, of course. Our lively debate last night was much fun. I'd be sad to think it was our last.
Oh.
Oops.
Mr. Natsume, does this mean that you did see the victim last night? You met with Mr. Shamsphere, didn't you?
Not saying another word. I demand to have a lawyer present.
Who do you think I am? Please, Mr. Natsume, we need to hear your side of the story.
Ugh. Why am I cursed like this?
Can you tell us exactly what happened last night then, Mr. Natsume?
There's nothing to tell. But, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire, I'm eternally grateful to you for helping me with that accursed case yesterday.
Case that saw poor Miss Green hospitalized after she ended up with a knife in her back. It's hard to believe that was only yesterday.
After the trial was over, I trudged my weary way back to my lowly lodgings. And that evening at +9, it must have been, I visited Mr. Shamsphere.
So, you did go to the victim's room then? As we feared.
I didn't do anything wrong! I'd never been to his room before. It was the first time!
Then what made you decide to go?
I bumped into him when I arrived back at the house. We got chatting and it developed into a discussion. But he had to go out, so I bade him farewell.
It ties in with what Mr. Garrett said, that the victim went out and came back after 8.
We met again later that evening at around 9 or just after, when I took him some nice tea I brewed as a gift.
So it was you who brought the tea that had clearly been drunk at the scene then? And I suppose you were discussing the works of Shakespeare, were you?
Yes, that's right. That's exactly right. Romeo and Juliet. Who was the stronger? It was a delightful debate.
I'm sure.
Such a stimulating subject, Shakespeare!
And the debate became very heated, so you slipped poison to Mr. Shakespeare's tea?
No, never! Not at all! Team Juliet won, that was me, and when I left his room, the flamboyant fellow was fighting fit, I swear it categorically.
Okay. Mr. Natsume, you often say the same thing about yourself. I've noticed that you have a cursed existence.
I'm sure I've mentioned this to you before, but I've been here in Great Britain for a year now, and in that time I've learned that it's no place for me.
It can be very trying to live in a foreign land and adapt to the ways of another culture.
There are foreigners everywhere I look. They all stare at me. They all laugh. That's the impression I get whenever I go out. It makes me scared to leave my room. Which is why I've become a recluse. But even in my room, I find no respite from my fears. I've moved more times than I can remember. And then 1 week ago, I moved into Briar Road.
But why? I mean, why did you choose that place? It doesn't seem very comfortable.
Because the rent is cheap. I have so little money, it spoke to me.
The rent?
Obviously, there's a reason why it's cheap. Because the room is cursed.
Cursed? Cursed how?
The previous occupant, the man who lived there before I took the room, died there.
Oh no!
He was only a young man, but one morning he was found dead and no one could explain why.
Surely no one would want to live in a room with a history like that.
I didn't. When the letting agent recommended the place, I wavered. But I want books, and books cost money. A horrible history is a small price to pay. When I realized it would mean I could buy more books, I signed the lease like lightning.
Brave. Or blinkered.
But after I moved in, I soon came to realize what I'd done. I realized how horrible that room's history really was.
Gosh, was it really so awful? How did the room's horrible history affect you, Mr. Natsume? What happened?
At first, it was just a feeling. The feeling of beady eyes boring into my back, watching me.
Do you think that might just have been your mind playing tricks on you?
No. My mind doesn't know any tricks. It was someone else. It's been one long nightmare ever since I given the keys to the place.
Been a while. Hey, what's up, Felushby? Nightmare? You've been having bad dreams, you mean?
Oh, the sort of died that the lean over me in my sleep and tried to strangle me.
That really is horrible.
No kidding. And now I come to think of it, it happened again last night too. The very same night that Mr. Shakespeare was writhing in agony from the poison in his body. I was on the verge of being suffocated silently by those miserable spirits in my room.
You simply must move out of that room as soon as possible.
Yes, you're right. I know it, and that's why.
I mean, I'm unused to watching streamers with 40AP. My faves are from Panama and Russia. Ah. Wait, so you're not used to watching streamers that have more than 40 ADP? Okay.
I'm already searching for the next room with a history to call home.
I think perhaps you should try to avoid accommodation with any kind of history at all. Otherwise, I'm scared that you yourself may become history.
Oh, God!
Whew, Mr. Sada-san knows how to make the man listen.
I'm so fucking boned! Of course. Mr. Lord of the Manor is a little worried about the curse in my room as well.
What's wrong with going down in history? Nothing wrong with that. You mean Mr. Garrett?
Oh, yes. He knows that if people keep dying there, he'll never be able to rent it out again.
We all just want to... Wait. Because we all just want to be big rockstars getting hilltop money driving 50 cars. I don't know what you're talking about. That's true. No one would want to go there. Ah, perhaps. That may explain why the landlord pays so much attention to the gas lamps in his tenants' movements. You mean because he's worried about their well-being? They seem to have an unusually keen interest in the amount of gas in the pipes. Must be a reason why he keeps such close tabs on the occupants of his let rooms.
What do you mean he pays so much attention to the gas lamps?
Oh dear, no, it's nothing to do with you, Mr. Nutsmate. Please, forget I said anything.
Oh, it's a song, okay. I'm unfamiliar with that.
Or at least that specific title. Oh, now you're talking about me
Oh, now you're talking about me behind my back as well.
What's important is that Mr. Shamsphere isn't in fact dead at all. He just probably ate some fucking soap. But once he's come around and he's able to tell us what happened, we'll be able to get you relapsed. Or released, rather.
Yes, please. Oh, I do hope you're right. That's a relapse?
Ahem. Excuse me. Inspector Gregson?
I couldn't help overhearing what you just said. And on that note, I have some good news and some bad news.
Oh?
What do you want to hear? Always, every time, the bad news comes first. When hope is all you have, hold on to it. That's my guiding principle. All right. Well, in that case, the good news is the good news it is.
Huh?
Sorry, but it's just a lot easier to explain everything that way. And why did you ask me my preference? As you might have heard, the victim, Mr. Shakespeare, was just unconscious, so he's come around now.
Yeah, we saw it happen in all its terrifying glory.
Yep. Anyways, he's still being treated by the doctors, but we've managed to get a written statement from him already.
Oh, isn't that wonderful, Mr. Nutsmate?
Oh, thank goodness. It's all over then. I can leave this somber cell. Nope. Sorry. That's not on the cards. What?
Why ever not, Inspector?
Mr. Shakespeare has implicated someone as being responsible for what happened last night.
Implicated someone? Oh dear.
You don't mean... I'm sorry to say I do, yeah. He's pointing the finger at you, Mr. Natsume. God damn it! By sweet poison did he seeketh to end my life. That wicked caitiff, Suseki Natsume.
No!
So I'm afraid you'll be appearing in court as planned. You'll be wanting to make the necessary preparations. No! No! God damn it! Why does it keep happening?
And so, once again, Soseki-san found himself having to take the dock in the Old Bailey. Whether his room was haunted or whether he was just terribly unlucky, I knew I had no choice. The following day, I would represent him in court, and do my utmost to break the curse that blighted him. Brother. This man has been arrested and sent to court 2 days in a row now. Oh my god. That makes no sense though, like... I mean, well, I guess it makes sense that he would point the finger at him, since I would assume that he was feeling out of the ordinary after drinking the tea. But then again, what the fuck was all that about with the soap bars? It's the only thing that confuses me.
The fucking soap bars. And we're in court. We're in fucking court the day after he was released. The Old Bailey. This place always makes me feel strange. I seem to get chills down my spine and break out in nervous sweat at the same time. Well, I didn't think I'd be back here so soon. That's my line! Good morning! Oh, good morning, Mr. Natsume. It was only 2 days ago that I was declared not guilty here. Yeah, we somehow managed to prove he didn't stab Miss Green in the back. But now this? Another goddamn morning with a goddamn another morning? This murder, I mean, and here I am again in this hellhole. Can't keep coming to the courts. I'm beginning to think he's right. It really does seem as though he's cursed. Mr. Naruhodo, I'm afraid I have some bad news. Oh. Fuck. Mr. Natsume, good morning. Yeah, good morning. What the fuck was the bad news you were mentioning? So, here we are again. Yes, again. Bitch, do you want to tell me what the fucking bad news is? Judicial system, Miss Mikatoma Esquires, what's the bad news? Oh dear, you heard, didn't you? Of course I fucking heard! You come in shouting at the top of your damn voice! People can't help hearing what you say! Oh, I'm sorry. No, nothing wrong, Mr. Sutton. Dude, chill. Now, what is it? Well, it seems that the prosecution in today's trial will be led by Lord Baron von Zeeks. Van Zeeks? Again? God! No, no, no! God! The so-called Reaper of the Bailey. The most legendary prosecutor in... Okay, to be fair, I don't think he's really legendary. We've already beaten him, like, 2 times now in a row. I don't think he has the right to have legendary prosecutor in the land anymore. Also, give me a moment. I'll be right back. I gotta do something. Sorry, my roommate was making fucking nuggies. And Mac. Alright, where were we? In the trial 2 days ago, he pursued Soseki-san and I relentlessly. And also constantly threw fucking wine bottles worth about 20 pounds a cup. Yes, they were that expensive. He filled like 6 goblets worth of wine from every bottle he threw. Of course, by the skin of our teeth, we managed to pull through, but still. Perhaps Mr. Natsume's acquittal in the last trial wasn't the end of the matter after all. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. The legend of the Reaper that says, nothing can save a person in the dock when Lord Van Zeeks is the prosecutor. Oh no! That even if that person is found not guilty, the accused will meet a mysterious end one way or another. We've experienced it firsthand. Oh yeah, that's right, the fucking Irish cunt. Man, we successfully defended met the most terrifying end with his acquittal, right here in the Old Bailey. Literally burning fucking hell. Ugh, do I have to put up with those ice-cold eyes boring into my soul again? Curse my evil spirit and now by the Reaper! Petrifying perils, potentially! Well, if it's potentially, at least you appear to have hope, Mr. Natsume. Welcome, student of Mr. Naruhodo Esquire!
Yeah?
I'm innocent. You have to believe me. You more than anyone now.
Don't worry. I'll be your steadfast ally every step of the way in this battle. I promise. And this promises to be a hard battle, I fear. Well, the trial is scheduled to begin shortly. We should move into the courtroom. Let's go. Oh, yeah, I forgot to say. I'm afraid he won't be able to make it. Mr. Sholmes, I mean. That's probably for the best. Oh? If he were here, I might be tempted to rely on his help. And that could be seen as a weakness. If Lord Van Zieks were to notice, he'd prey on it mercilessly. At least, that's my gut feeling. Mr. Naruhodo.
You're right. Yes, you're so right. Thank you for not bringing that dickhead in here. Oh, well said, locum student, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. Well said.
I swear on the sword at my side and on the spirit of Kazuma that it harbors. I'll show him what a Japanese lawyer can do. I'll set you free. With honor. Oh, yes! Alright, here we go. Wow, without a lot of investigating, we're going to day one. Alright, 9:40 a.m. The Old Bailey. Oh, look at that. Some old characters.
In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. I now call upon the counsels for the prosecution and defense to declare their willingness to proceed.
The prosecution is ready. The defense is ready, my lord. Readiness for the trial, my learned Nepentese friend. Not what the defense needs. What you need is readiness for your inevitable defeat. And fuck you. I've already beaten your ass like twice in court. Anyways, it's not just in my imagination, it's really there. Lord Van Zieks has such an animosity towards us Japanese for some reason. It was some time ago now that he first became known as the Reaper of the Bailey, I believe. These past few years, he hasn't appeared in court at all. Yet now he's back in the courtroom, but for some reason, only when I'm defending, this Reaper with his curious disdain for us Japanese is a prosecutor shrouded in mystery. Still, this isn't the time to be pondering that. I have to concentrate on Saseki-san's trial.
Furthermore, I now call upon the 6 ladies and gentlemen of the jury. You have been chosen at random to represent the will of the people in this trial. Are you ready to fulfill your duty? Absolutely. I had a feeling this larrikin was innocent before.
Oh my, I must say that I feel especially ruthless on days when my hat refuses to sit right.
Oh, well, I rather like how you're wearing your hats. I think the ruthless look is very fetching, actually. Oh, I need to be somewhere at 10 o'clock. I have a very important meeting. Let's make this quick.
I couldn't agree more. I need to take home 5 bob tonight, or the missus will go through the roof.
Oh, may the Lord show us all the light here. Lead his flock to a righteous verdict. I'm religious now. I found God.
The British jury system is so very different to our own, isn't it? It's quite extraordinary to think that the power of judgment is in the hands of 6 members of the public. And that the judge can only pass sentence when all jurors are in agreement about the defendant's guilt. 6 citizens of London chosen at random. Or at least, that's the idea. 5 of which are still the same, one of them's actually different. The prosecution will draw attention to the fact that the accused was on trial here but 2 days ago. Accordingly, where possible, the same jurors have been asked to return for duty today.
Very well, let us commence the trial. Lord Van Zieks, your opening statement, please.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, it is not the intent of the prosecution to cast doubt over your past decision. However, The innocent verdict afforded to this eccentric Nipponese before has had dire consequences. Did the accused repent for his wrongdoing in that affair? Far from it. Instead, he used his freedom to perpetrate a most blood-curdling crime, namely that of the attempted murder of his neighboring lodger, an innocent Englishman. To explain the circumstance of the crime, the prosecution calls its first witness to the stand. Oof. Oh, my eye! The detective responsible for investigating the scene, and the accused himself.
Oh shit, what was that?
Witnesses, your names and occupations, please.
Yes, sir. Tobias Gregson, Detective Inspector at Scotland Yard's Homicide Division. Soseki Natsume from the Empire of Japan. My government ordered me to come here as a student to study your language and culture.
Mr. Natsume?
Yes, my lord, sir.
I'm quite sure I'm not mistaken that you swore an oath never to set foot in my courtroom again. I remember it as if it were yesterday. Your Honor, the day before, in fact, my lord, but close enough.
Believe me, this is the last place I want to be.
Inspector, let's hear from you first. Explain the case for the court.
Right you are, sir.
The incident occurred at the Garrett household where the defendant has lodgings. In the ground floor room of the victim, Mr. William Shakespeare, the defendant is already admitted to visiting the victim on the night in question. Mr. Shakespeare collapsed in his room as a result of poisoning by strychnine. He was found the following morning when the landlord suspected something was wrong and broke down the door. This means I presume that the door to the victim's room was locked at the time of the incident. Correct, my lord. It was locked from the inside, making entry to or exit from the room impossible.
Although the victim, Mr. Shakespeare, lives to tell the tale. Apparently nearly didn't. The man was halfway to heaven when we first found him. I was the first officer on the scene, my lord. I have a photographic print here that I took in the time to show how it looked. Yes, a chilling scene indeed. Man looks very much deceased. That's right. Everyone present believed that's exactly what he was. He was fucking dead. Deader than, I don't know, roadkill? Very well, I shall accept this photographic print as evidence for the court. That was kind of a weird comment you just said, by the way. Anyways, now then, Mr. Natsume. Oh, yes.
As the defendant, do you have anything to say at this juncture?
They're haunted. Haunted by evil spirits.
Good gracious, what's haunted?
My lodgings! There's been a whole series of strange happenings in my lodgings. The tenant before me died in mysterious circumstances. A woman was stabbed by no one on the street outside. My neighbor was poisoned. And me! What about me? I've nearly been killed countless times.
Killed, Mr. Natsume? How?
Even on that fateful night it happened, when I returned from Mr. Shakespeare's room. I lit my gas stove and climbed to bed, but before long, the stove went out, and somebody tried to kill me.
Must always extinguish all fires before retiring for the night, Mr. Natsume.
But it's so cold! My runny nose would freeze. The point is, I didn't poison my neighbor. Oh, why am I being accused of this? Why is my existence so cursed?
Thank you, witnesses. I believe I have a reasonably clear picture of events. If I could raise one more point, my lord. One more conclusive point.
Conclusive? Go on. Fortunately, the victim, Mr. Shamspear, has regained consciousness after his ordeal. And he has named the true culprit. The poison consumed by the victim was administered in a cup of tea that he drank on the night in question. Tea, my lord, that was brought to the victim's room by the accused. The accused? Good grief. Order! Order! Yeah, that's the crux of this whole case. So Seki-san is innocent, then why? Why has the victim accused him? Well, Mr. Natsume, what have you to say to this accusation? Good evening, yes. I did take some freshly brewed tea with me when I visited Mr. Shamspear's room as a gift. A public water pump outside always freezes at night, so I brought bottled water especially to make it. And this is the result. Never will I touch tea again. Never.
The public pump was frozen, you say? That's not information we've heard before.
That will do, thank you. Now, according to our laws, the defense must have the opportunity to cross-examine witnesses at least once. Therefore, I call upon these witnesses now for formal testimony. I presume the prosecution has no objection.
None whatsoever, my lord.
Good. Then you will give your account of events of the night in question to the court now.
Yes, my lord! Alright. So we're actually going to go ahead and cut it right here. So unfortunately, I would continue on, but it's getting a little late. I'm a little hungry, and I got to get up actually really early in the morning. So for now, we're going to stop right here. Probably either tomorrow or Thursday. I'll either stream this or, well, yeah, I'll either stream it tomorrow or Thursday. It's one or the other. But I hope you guys enjoyed this stream, even if it's a little short, and I'll catch you guys later. Ciao.